try to make sure I articulate so that everyone can hear. I'm impressed. It's January the 4th. It's cold as heck outside. It's the middle of the week and the middle of the day, and I see this many people coming out in the beginning of the year. You should all be very excited about your future, so give yourselves a round of applause. Johnny didn't tell me how long I had, so I'm going to try to make sure that I'm entertaining, informative, and motivational, because I know that that's what this is all about. Again, my name is Ron Busby, and I am the president of the U.S. Black Chamber. But before I became that, I was just like most of us. Came to a lot of networking events, educational events, entrepreneurial events, and always saw myself in some kind of role. Before that, I had a job like most African Americans did, and before that, well, let me start from the beginning. I grew up in Oakland, California, which is a lot like Baltimore, a lot like D.C., a lot like Bowie. My father was a Black Panther, so I kind of grew up in the struggle, and my mother was a Head Start teacher. So education was rooted in us at a very young age. I have two sisters. My older sister is a doctor who went to Howard, and my younger sister is an attorney. So we kind of grew up in a family of an Indian chief, a doctor, and a lawyer, and I consider myself an Indian chief. Had a chance to go anywhere in the world to go to college. I had pretty decent SAT scores and had made the Olympic team in 1976 and 1980, so everybody was recruiting me. Went to 1 year at Stanford University. First day of class, they said, look to your right, look to your left. One of y'all ain't gonna be here. And I said, well, this probably ain't the place for me. Had the opportunity to leave and went to an HBCU, Florida A&M.
All right.
One of the best experiences of my life. They recruited the top two SAT scores African Americans from each state. So we were there with other African American young adults like myself, all thinking that we were on top of the world. And our first day, they said, look to your left, look to your right. We want you to get married. We want you to go in business together. We want you to be the future leaders of the country. And it was amazing. I left there, still was young, was 19 and a half when I finished college, and said I'm not mature enough to work, so I decided to go to graduate school and continued in the same footsteps and went to Clark Atlanta University, where I got an MBA. While I was an undergrad, I had an opportunity to go and work in corporate America. And I worked at IBM for 4 years in Chicago, so I got a little dose of the winter months. Nothing like this, though, but I was always there in the spring. So I had a chance to get exposed to corporate America from a young age. After graduate school, went on to work at Exxon, Xerox, IBM, and was the youngest African American at Coca-Cola Fountain Sales Division, where I was a vice president stationed in Dallas, Texas.